So I can see some of you guys putting some comments in the in the chat, saying camera angle again. After things is saying he needs some easing in and out, too slow. Sound effects are a bit. Okay, guys, so we're going to comment on the positive things there as well. I'm going to comment on the positive things first. So if you guys can comment on some of the positive stuff as well in the chat, okay? Because there is a lot of good stuff in this animation. So I'm going to watch again with the volume turned down a bit, and I'm going to comment on some of the positives. So I'll just bring you guys with me onto YouTube. Okay, so the first thing to say is the set is quite nice here, that we've got the blue walls look decent in the background. Again, it's a very strong color, this blue, so it is kind of a bit overwhelming and distracting, but at least it looks really clean. And having these three sets lined up here, it's a decent layout. Okay, so motorbikes appear. We've got sound effects, which is good. We've got music. We've got sound effects that are in time, okay, and appropriate, which is more difficult than you would think, and a lot of times you don't see that in films. Okay, and we've got a story that's developing in an interesting way. Okay, so this is something that you can't really take for granted when looking at stop motions on YouTube, that you're going to have a story that's going to develop in a interesting, logical way that's easy to understand. Okay, so we've got two criminals in the bank and Spider-Man's coming in. Okay, that's it's a nice touch, although a bit unnecessary for him to use his web there. And yeah, it's a good use of masking there, although as people were saying in the chat, it is a bit slow. And again, there it's a bit slow. Nice the way that the web appears there, and he's now been attached to it. There's some more of that web, some more of that silk. And I'm not sure why Spider-Man's done that. it's kind of cool that there's so much action. And the animator hasn't been lazy. They've decided to put a lot into this brick film in terms of different things happening. And then that's a really nice swing. So if you see the arc of that swing at the end there, and it was quite a good camera angle as well for that last shot. So just watch that last shot again because I really like that. Okay, so look at that. Okay, so we've got Spider-Man is in a good position, roughly using the rule of thirds, not exactly, but then we've got a great line. He's shooting the web towards the camera, and it makes a line to the corner of the screen. So that's really, really visually pleasing. So that's a really great final shot. And then swings away. And then the arc of the swing is realistic as well, that he would kind of go like that. So really nice. Really like that final shot. Okay, so let's go from the top and see the things that could be improved. So once again, the first thing I'm going to say is, as before, the camera angle is in this kind of slightly looking downwards position. And what this does is it also brings more attention to the background rather than to the stuff that's really interesting, which is our set here. And already we're getting a clue to what's going to happen because we're seeing a bank here. So we're thinking, okay, it's going to be a bank robbery. But because of the camera angle, it could be a lot stronger if it was just brought down more to the street level, to the eye level of the minifigures. Okay, so then the bikes come in. Okay, that bike movement is kind of juddery, so you need to think more about even movements and then getting into smaller movements as they get closer. And then the sound effects, although it's great having sound effects. Again, the sound effects was kind of like a screeching to a stop, which wasn't quite realistic for the speed that they were moving at. But I'm being really picky there. Okay, so here is something that happens throughout the whole animation, is when people are turning, when they're walking and then they turn, look how long it takes him to turn like that. So this is something that's actually quite difficult to do in brick films because it's something that people don't really teach you in tutorials. So you get walk cycle tutorials all the time, but you don't really get tutorials of how to make your minifigures turn around a corner. So it's kind of tempting to do what this person's done and make them turn really slowly like that. But you just need to get it over with a lot quicker than that within a couple of frames. Okay, so what you need to do is, when they're turning, is go for the first frame where they're facing this way. It's also better to move this leg backwards, okay, because when you're standing and you're going to turn, it's more likely that you'll lift this leg up and bring it backwards to make you turn around like that. But you need to get it over with in two or three frames max to get them to turn around. Okay, and then with the walking, you see that there's not any arm movements, so that's what makes it look a little bit like he's a toddler or something. Okay, they've got through the door all right. Getting through doors is always a bit tricky in brick films. Okay, again with the walking there could be a bit more arm movement there. And with the turning, you notice it takes quite a while for them to turn. And again here, Spider-Man's taking ages to get around those corners. Okay, so if you bring also another thing you can do is if you bring the camera down, quite a lot and get it on the level with Spider-Man's eyes, you can actually just not show his feet at all, and then you can put a kind of like a flat piece, a sort of a plank going diagonally, and then you can just have him walk diagonally along a flat piece that you can blue tack on here. I showed this in one of my tutorials, I can't remember which one. It might have been in the set building, the brick film set building tutorial. So if you put like a 2x10 flat piece going here, just blue tack it down, have the camera so that you can only see Spider-Man from, you know, halfway up his legs to his head. So get it closer, get it down a lot lower. You don't need to worry about him turning, he can just walk at a diagonal. Okay, that's nicely done getting the mask on. And then the swing is decent, although that bit where that bit where it goes up, I don't know what I would have done there, but it just looks really awkward. And then how he's kind of waiting for it to go before he walks in. So I think you could have just got rid of it in a couple of frames and just had him walking while it went away. Okay, again here the jumping's just a bit too slow. So there's a few things, and it is difficult if you're working in stop motion studio or something like that and you can't use a variable frame rate. It is difficult. So a lot of this stuff here is too slow. So what you need to do is just take less photos, have less frames. So just move stuff a lot more, right? So when he's shooting those web balls, you maybe just take one photo with the web ball on his hand, one photo maybe with it here, and then one with it hitting him. Or you could try one here, one here, one here, and one with it hitting him. So have a lot less photos, and then it will go a lot quicker. But it's a nice idea. It's good that there's so much action in here, and it's just practice to get this kind of stuff looking better. Okay, you would have seen that there was a bit of a wobble on this wall. That wobbled there, so obviously I'm picking up on everything that's not quite right, so it might seem a bit harsh. But the wall is also kind of leaning, so those kind of details, like just putting the wall, like attaching it there, would have been a bit stronger. And again with the camera angles. Okay, so now we're kind of reaching the finale, and so that police bike arriving was actually better than the other motorcycle animations. The way it moved in, it was a lot smoother than the others, and then he kind of did a little skid at the end. And also the flashing lights was a nice touch. Yeah, and then calling in the arrests, and then yeah, we'll see that nice final shot again. Love that final shot. Really great. Okay.